Blog Talk Radio.
Welcome, living beneficiaries, to the show for living beneficiaries, the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. Prepare for the most educational 60 minutes on all of radio with your host, Rick Hidalgo. The House of Hidalgo show can be followed on Twitter or Facebook by searching House of Hidalgo. Find the show on the web at www.therockofsalem.org. Sign up for the newsletter, and while you're there, take the 5-question survey to let us know what you think. The Estate Radio Network is part of the Blog Talk Radio family of networks and can be found at www.blogtalkradio.com/South Dakota DP. Join the show now by chat or call 619-639-4605. Don't forget to dial 1 to get in the queue. Here's your host, Rick Hidalgo! Hello everyone, this is Rick Hidalgo, of course the host of the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. It is another stellar day here in South Dakota. Boy, it is cool and refreshing outside. A little bit too cool, actually. For this time of the year, we should be kind of burning up to a crisp, but that global warming's not working out so well. But anyway, I welcome you to the show today. This is a very exciting show. Of course, we got good friends from One Community Global that are joining us, as Jay Sable, and I'll introduce him here in just a second. But I want to remind you where you can join in the chat or call in. If you go to the link that you were provided to get to the show, you just go down to the bottom of the page and you'll find a chat you could participate in. Or if you weren't provided a link and you just kind of happened upon this show, just go to blogtalkradio.com/South Dakota DP, like double play, and then find the link to the show that we're doing today, which is obviously the show that's going to be featured there, and go down to the bottom of that page and join in the chat. Otherwise, call in 619-639-4605. That's 619-639-4605. If you want to get into the queue, just press 1 and you can get into the queue. Otherwise, man, I'm ready to start this show. Again, if you are listening live, or those of you that listen afterwards, go to onecommunityglobal.org and kind of follow along as we start our discussion here. Without further ado, I'm going to bring on our guest. Okay, Jay, are you with us?
I sure am. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you wonderfully. I appreciate you coming on. We had you on a couple weeks ago, and I had so many listeners chime in that I thought it would be appropriate to bring you back again and to kind of have some of the same discussion for the new ones, but then kind of dive into some other areas and maybe give us some updates too. Jay, how do you want to start this? Do you want to start by giving us some updates of what's happened since the last time we chatted?
Sure, yeah, we can do that. Let's see, I was just doing my video blog today, so each week we do updates. A project like this is kind of interesting to do updates because so much happens that I forget what I was doing 3 days ago. But I can tell you that in the last week, since I got a list in front of me, we've got our tropical atrium that we're working on. We've got plants done through 50, which is cultural considerations, planting guidelines, pictures, things like that, which are done in Google Doc format. We're starting to move those over onto the website as open source content. And that structure is will demonstrate a tropical growing environment that will also provide recreational space. And we want to open source the whole thing so it's totally duplicable, make it as affordable as possible. We've got a Wallapini, aquapini, or well, we call it a Zenapini actually, which is a Wallapini combined with aquaponics. And we've got all the plants planned out for that, selected and mapped for Xenopy #1, which is going to be a cloud forest environment internal. We're 2/3 done with Earthbag Village cost analysis. We've got somebody who just signed on with our project to start putting the Straw Bale Village, which is Pod 2, into 3D. So that's super, super exciting because we've been really, really focused on the Earthbag Village.
Wow.
Because that's our #1 priority, the first village that we're going to form, that we're going to build. But the Straw Bale Village will be modular sustainability. So the Earthbag Village is maximally affordable sustainability, something that could be built. You could build housing for 100 people for $300,000 or $400,000 anywhere in the world. Really, really amazing. Straw Bale Village is going to be modularly expandable sustainability. So the idea with that village model is that you could build housing for 10 people, and then you could expand on that housing indefinitely, to build an entire village as it grew around that. And so we've got a double tourist design that's pretty amazing for that. Gray water systems are moving forward, which is cool. Education program is moving forward. We've got all of our education curriculum is now done. We've got our strategies for the open source and free shared education program are also all done, and now we're working on strategies to create teachers, communicators, and leaders, which is the foundations for educators as well as our community model as a whole, just interaction between each other. And then once we've got that done, we'll start working on the ultimate classroom and designing classroom design. So this is all community-based education, pre-education systems. We want to teach people how to set these up anywhere. So urban environments or in community environments, we want to bring the idea of the educational system, create a model that can be integrated into any area, and so we're working on that as well. And then this week we just rolled out a couple different things, Satellite Pioneer option, which is a pioneer option for people joining our team that don't want to move to the property with us, but are really interested in being a part of world change with what it is that we're doing, that would like to be a part of our weekly calls, that would like to be a part of all of the stuff that's happening behind the scenes, creating one community with an idea to either create their own community or just to be a part of what we're doing, to participate at a level that's much deeper than consultants or partners, because we've got lots of consultants and partners, but they're only participating on project team calls. They're not really a part of our weekly ongoing process that really happens behind the scenes. And so we just rolled that out, or we haven't even rolled it out, but the infrastructure is now up on the website. We'll start announcing all that and sharing the reduced invitation forms and the applications, all that different stuff will be going out this week. And then we've done a bunch of updates to the website, too. We've redone our overview page, which we haven't shared. It's obviously available on the website, but we haven't shared that yet through our announcements or anything. But it's now a great way to look at our website and see where to go from there. So if you go on our website and you click on the top drop-down link in the top left-hand corner for About and click on the Overview, we've redesigned that whole page now. So it's got an overview of all of our overview pages. And then when you click on those different overview pages, and it's got an overview of all of our overview pages, and an overview of all of the key pages for the open source content as well. And so the #1 piece of feedback that we've gotten from our project is, oh my God, your website is so amazingly comprehensive, and simultaneously, oh my God, your website is so comprehensive, it blows me completely out of the water, I don't even know where to start. And
right.
So, yeah, in the last 2 weeks, we've redesigned we've updated our site map, and we've updated that overview page so that now people have 2 places where they can go, and they can easily see everything that is one community in one spot and know where kind of that's the portal to everything else. And then we've also updated our, last week, we also updated our residency projections and revenue projections for the first 5 years. And so all those details are up on the website, too.
Excellent. Yeah, man, that sounds like, like I asked you before we got on, do you ever sleep, because you guys got new stuff daily, it seems like.
Yep, definitely.
So I wonder, for the newbies, I'm sure you got them really excited now, just having said just the little bit that you said there. They're probably thinking, man, what did I just happen upon here? What in the world is it that you're doing, Jay? You want to give them kind of a brief overview here?
Yeah, definitely. So One Community is a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and the purpose of our organization is to create open source blueprints for complete sustainable civilizations. And so we say sustainable civilizations because we're starting with infrastructure, but that's only half of the picture. So we have food, energy, and housing infrastructure, and then in addition to that, we have social architecture as well as an education program, resource-based economy implementation, and all these details. And so we're putting all of these things together, and we call it open source project launch blueprinting, because we're not just open sourcing what we're doing, but the purpose of our nonprofit organization is to create project launch blueprints. It's to open source it such that anybody can take anything that we're doing and they can duplicate it either as an individual component or as complete teacher demonstration communities, villages, and cities to be built all over the world. And we want to lead a global collaborative, a global cooperative of people that are plugging information into the infrastructure that we already have in place to build a global archive of the information and a database that continues to grow so that people have more and more ways to evolve everything that we're doing. And so ultimately our idea is to create a foundation that people can build off of, and then they can take it in a million different directions to represent the diversity that is humanity. And we call that highest good of all thinking, and that's our approach, is if we can put it out there, we can make it easy enough, and we can define it clearly enough, and we can create the tools, tutorials, and resources necessary to duplicate everything that we're doing, then people can take it in a direction that works best for them, and it'll move our entire planet in a sustainable direction. And we believe that if we can get enough of these villages up, if we can get enough of these started, because the people that really, really want to work directly with us and closest with us will build teacher demonstration villages. If we get enough teacher demonstration villages going, then they can become self-replicating, and that people will see the idea and go, wow, I want to do that. And we'll go, great, we can provide you everything that you need. Here's how you can do that. And people can literally unplug from the matrix and set themselves up with additional teacher demonstration villages, and in so doing this, create exponential growth and transition us all in the direction of a significantly more sustainable future, and ultimately looking out, 3-4 decades in a way that will positively impact life for every single person on this planet in some way.
Absolutely awesome. You can totally count me in on that list as well, because as different financing makes itself available to me in different investments that I've made and such, that's exactly where I'm going to be pouring it in, because I see the need for it, and I happen to think that there may be some difficult times coming ahead of us, and because of that, I want to I want to be one that's able to take people in and help people myself. So Jay, definitely count me as a partner in that area as well. Let's do this. Can we talk housing a little bit here?
Sure.
I've done a lot of beta testing of this stuff, Jay, with my inner circle and the people that are around me. We've been doing a lot of chatting. I think I may have over chatted in some areas where I confused people to death, but I look at these models here, and the first thing, you talk about the earth bags. The first thing I hear is, are these wigwams?
Kinda.
So I kind of wonder, and by the way, if you're following along with our chat here, go to onecommunityglobal.org and go into that open source area where the guy's tearing his chest open and the waterfall's coming out. Go into click on the housings tab there and check these pictures out. They're kind of cool. What are these intended to hold as far as numbers of people?
Well, so the Earthbag Village is, once again, purposed to be maximally affordable sustainability. So our idea is really to demonstrate homes that can be built for a couple $1,000s. Now, keep in mind that to build a home for a couple $1,000s requires a redefinition of, well, at least the way that we're doing it is redefining what a home looked like. This is another reason why the whole thing is open source, because a lot of people are going to look at it and go, I have no desire at all to live in that. Are you kidding me? It's like, well, yeah, we get that. I mean, we're into this, but other people would want to probably build something much different. And so our idea is to create the open source blueprint and say, okay, well, if you want to do it maximally affordable, here's how you can do it. And because we're going to build 67 of them, there'll be 67 different iterations as far as artistic style and what can be done inside, et cetera. And somebody else could go, well, wait a minute, those are 200 square foot structures. I want a 2,000 square foot structure. All right, well, if you want to put 10 of these together, it's still going to cost you a fraction of what you would pay for a traditional home. And these things will last 500 years. They're amazing. Super affordable, they're easy to build, and, it's just, you get healthy while you're building it as well. So our model and really the entire one community model, all of the village models that we're setting up, at least for our demonstration of it, is built on this idea of redefining what a home looks like. And to do that, we've got to redefine what life looks like. And so this is why we say the infrastructure is only 50% of it, because there's a social architecture aspect, and there's an integration of food infrastructure and recreational space into all of these village models that says, hey, what if we created a lifestyle where you really didn't spend time sitting in your home because you're no longer on the couch watching TV? Instead, you're out really being proactive, you're contributing, you're living a lifestyle that's really, really active in a beautiful space that gets you out of your home. And then what would the home be used for at that point? Well, from our perspective, okay, well, now this is kind of a private space that you go for sleeping and for intimacy. And as far as recreation and social and those kinds of ideas, let's dedicate our resources to creating a really beautiful, what many people would probably characterize as opulent spaces, specifically for going and reading a book, specifically for going and getting away from it all and just taking some private time. Why would you want to sit in your bedroom or in your home when you can do that, when you can go sit in this amazing tropical atrium, that's just this beautiful, lush environment that's purposed specifically for providing you the ultimate experience of relaxation. So all the village models are designed around that. We have a typical city center hub also that's designed around group dining and things like that. But those are all elements of one community. And so, our open source model is saying, hey, if you want to duplicate exactly the way that we're doing it, then our purpose is to make that as easy as possible, and make it as easy as possible to duplicate what we're doing. If you want to do it differently, then we're excited to see that next iteration as well.
Yeah, no, I don't have any issue with that. That's awesome. I love that. I just so just to have a better grasp and understand this better. The earth bags are the earth bag system is basically made in such a way to where you can phase it however you want to. In other words, you can put 2 or 3 of them, build them kind of together in such a way where it generally would meet the same idealism that we have today of a house, in that each earth bag and it's really is just a separate bedroom. Is that what you're saying? Yeah. So,
yeah. Well, and go ahead. Sorry.
No. Go ahead.
Well, I was just going to add, you reminded me of another reason why we chose. So the diameter or the square footage of the earth bag structures that we're building, we'll build a couple that are 150 square feet, and then and then the rest of them are 200 square feet. And the reason why we chose that is because in most counties, if you have a freestanding structure that's under 200 square feet, then you can build it without a permit. And so we have to permit everything that we're doing, so that doesn't benefit us. But when we decided to design the whole thing, we said, hey, what would be most beneficial to people in general? If we want to spread this idea and make it mainstream popular, then what do we need to do? Well, we need to create something that people can build in their backyard as a really cool little guest house, and they're not going to have to pull a permit for it, and they can build it for under a couple $1,000s. And so that was really our idea with this village, is like, okay, let's set up a village that can be built affordably in Africa or Haiti really easily, or Brazil or wherever, and at the same time, what can we provide to mainstream America where somebody might have a home and still want to get them engaging in this idea, because we want to spread it, as quickly as possible. And so it's like, hey, you might have your 2,400 square foot house, but wouldn't it be cool to build a little home in your backyard like this? You don't have to worry about permits. They're super cheap to do. You can invite your friends over. You can get some good exercise while you're doing it. And you can create a really artistic, cool talking point in your backyard to go along with your Wallapini food production structure, hopefully, that we can get you to build as well. And, slowly but surely transitioning people to a new level of self-sufficiency.
Yeah, absolutely. I love it. This is great stuff. As I look through the different types of housing that that you have open sourced here, the one that really just hits me as beautiful and just the architecture of it is cool. The cob construction, I can really get into that.
Yeah. Yeah, well, the nice thing about the cob and the earth bag, both of those, you can, the designs and stuff that you can do with that. And you were starting to ask about, could you put them together? And these structures are definitely designed to be done that way. So the earth bags, you can do either individual bags, you can buy tubing, and there's tons of websites just dedicated to earth bags. So check out what's out there and take a look at it. Don't take my word for it. Do a Google search and check images for earth bag structures. And you can see these amazing multi-room homes and things that have been done. Same thing with straw bale. It's mind-blowing, the beauty that can be created and the artistic elements and stuff that can be added into these structures and how you can put them together. And that's really what we want to see. We want to see a revolution and evolution in the way that people look at housing. And we believe that if we can put housing in the hands of the mainstream, housing in the hands of the public, and take it out of out of the hand, not necessarily take it out of the hands, but build a foundation so that architects and engineers have a solid foundation to build off of, to create off of, and so create that foundational platform. I think that we'll see a real revolution in these kinds of technologies as people start to really engage them and get creative with them, because we've demystified enough of the process so people are excited to engage it. It's easy to build a traditional home because there's lots of people that know how to do that. Well, we want to make it so there's lots of people that know how to build these homes as well. We want to make these organizations like Cal Earth and some of these other, and a lot of the individuals out there that are teaching these kinds of technology, we want to make them sought after. And then as the ideas become more and more popular, then it becomes easier and easier to access this technology and build this kind of stuff. And that's where we see, 10, 20 years from now, this becoming something that's not so difficult to push through counties, because you've already got 50 counties that have approved it. And so somebody can walk into a new county and go, hey, this is being done. It's not, it's not rocket science. As a matter of fact, it's super, super simple and really durable and safe, and it's wonderful, and here we go. And then those counties will start buying into it. So that's the movement we're trying to create.
Sure. I mean, Jay, you and I, based on the amount of information you have on this site, we could do 1,000 shows. I mean, this is crazy. But take us into one of these earth bag homes, and let's what do you expect inside of one of these things? Let's talk about on the cheap. You're building a sustainable environment for 100 people, and you're building 67 of these things, I think is what you said, and we're trying to build it so that each person has kind of their own place. What can you expect to be inside these things?
Yeah, so the easy thing, if people go to the website and they go to onecommunityglobal.org/earthbag-village, then you're in the open source portal, and you can access the details in this kind of stuff, including space planning, and it shows you the basics of what it is. So, but ultimately what you're looking at is a 200 square foot structure. They can be built in a couple months once you know how to build them, and finished. And then within that structure, they've got 17-foot high ceilings. So initially we're going to build them without a loft or anything in there, but we're setting them up so that they can be retrofitted with lofts, and we can expand on it. The tricky part about it is, once again, you got to get these things permitted. And so, we're starting with the simplest model possible, and then in the process of building 67 of them, we'll basically push the limits of permitting and just continue to get more and more creative with what we can do. Like, okay, great, you guys let us build that. Well, now we'd like to add a loft. What do we need to do? It's like, okay, let's go through this process, folks. And fortunately, we've got a county that's willing to do that process with us, and they're excited about it too, because they're kind of frustrated with the way that the International Building Code has put the clamps down on people and their ability to do what they want to do on their own property. And so we're very fortunate to have a county that's big on property rights. They're big on safety because that's their job too, but they also want to see the International Building Code expanded. And so the idea with the whole Earth Bag Village is to do that as much as we possibly can with the Earth Bag design. And so we've built these designs for the most part to be 3-pod clusters or 3-dome clusters. So you've got 3 domes, which will be individual residences in our case, but somebody could easily take that 3-dome cluster and build themselves a house with it, cover through the center of it, and turn it into a 4-bedroom home very easily. And so that was the idea why we went with that. And we'll also have a 2-dome cluster so people have that option as well. And then the idea is to show people that if you just wanted to build one of these, in most counties you can do that without a permit. And so that's the idea. And once you walk in, you've got a couple windows, north-facing window, a south-facing window. You've got natural lighting in there. You have venting through tubing that allows lots of airflow, glass screen door, and then another door on the outside so you can get lots of light in there. But once again, the idea is that you're not going to be hanging out in your home. There's other spaces that are really expansive and built for that. This is more
right.
like, hey, here's your private space if you want to escape. And then there's also additional private spaces that are built into the entire model as well. So the idea is by bringing homes together like this, and we've got, it's a total of 75 domes, so 67 of those are living domes, and then there's another 8 that are combination bathroom and shower domes. And we did that to bring our plumbing prices way, way down, because originally it was going to be a dry dome and a wet dome. So there would be a dry dome, which is like your bedroom, and then there would be a bathroom dome. And so there would be a pair for each couple. And the problem that we ran into with that with the county was they said, hey, if you're going to, and we wanted to do composting toilets. They said, no, composting toilets in our experience, people do them for, 2 or 3 years and then they don't. So if you're going to build composting toilets, you have to plumb for traditional toilets for the entire village model. Like, oh, well, that pretty much defeats the whole purpose of it. I mean, the expense of that, doing that, we're not going to do that. And so instead, we went with communal bathrooms and showers, which brought the price down even more and fit with our whole model. And so the idea here with that is that in creating these individual structures the way that they are and bringing the price down, making it as affordable as we possibly can, and putting these showers and the bathrooms and everything together, as it's allowed us to start designing the whole natural gray water processing and to start doing a vermiculture bathroom design that could be implemented anywhere without a septic, and to prove that technology. And so it's just been kind of this natural progression of oh, man, that's such a bummer too. Wow, that's kind of, this really fits with our open source goals. Okay, yeah, we'll take on that project too. Like, all right, we'll design that. That fits with what we want to do. And so, fortunately, we're optimists because there's been a lot of those experiences. But the end result is that we're creating what you see on our website, which is all these details of like, okay, yes, we need a gray water processing system, and we need full water catchment system, and we're willing to engage that process. It's just a lot of work. But if we can lay the foundation, as I said before, then other people will be able to build off of that. And so we recognize what it is that we're creating, for the bigger picture. And that's why we're so dedicated to it.
Right. And I guess what I'm getting at is each one of these earth bags, because it's just a place to sleep and be with your spouse or whatever. You're talking about not needing a lot of energy, within those earth bags. So. Maybe just a little bit of lighting at night or something. So as far as the energy cost in each one of these earth bags, are you just talking about like an individual solar panel or?
Yep. Yeah, so we've got a whole solar array because it's more efficient since we're building a whole village. But yeah, for somebody, if they wanted to do, if you're going to build one of these in your backyard, you could power it with one solar panel, especially since you're not, your refrigerator, all your really heavy energy draining items are put elsewhere, and so once again we get back to that whole idea of communal living and saying, okay, how can we create maximum efficiency, and then how can we create it so that it doesn't seem like it's a big sacrifice, because people, the goal is to build this stuff and go, okay, we don't want life to be a return to the Stone Ages. That's ridiculous. Like we're moving forward, so how do you repurpose these structures and say, okay, how do we say, if we were going to change, if we were going to live the ideal life, if we were going to take, at least for us, what our idea of Club Med looks like, our version of living out in nature, surrounded by nature, and really cooperative, collaborative, and proactive living, what does that look like? And so that's why these structures are so simple, and then we can put our resources into things like the Tropical Atrium, like the Sago Centers, Ducal City Hub, and things like that, food production facilities, and then built into everything that we do, we're creating recreational spaces. So all of our food infrastructure has a recreational space built into it. They're all meant to be places to go and read a book or have a cup of coffee or tea, relax, because we realize that that's no longer built into the home environment, and we've got these resources that we're putting in these environments, and we create them to just be mind-blowing, beautiful, and effective for that purpose as well as food.
Yes, yes. Wow, this is just incredibly stimulating, and I cannot believe we're already halfway through this. When you're having fun, the time just flies, man. Um, so, so what we're going to do, Jay, is take about a 2-minute break so that I can run a couple spots that I got to run, and I'll be right back.
Sounds good.
Do you need an experienced editor to look over your short story, script, or novel? Do you need help building a platform or self-publishing your book? Are you on the cusp of realizing your dream, but you need someone to help you with those few extra steps? Are you a business in need of an established copy editor or copywriter? Dan O'Brien has more than a decade of experience in writing and publishing, and his rates are flexible. All that matters to Dan is the integrity of your artistic vision, and Dan can help you create the highest quality work possible. Please email Dan today at amalgamconsulting@gmail.com or visit his website, www.amalgamconsulting.com. That's AMALGAM consulting.com. Write Dan today. Start your dreams tomorrow. Do you have hopes, dreams, and goals, but don't know how to reach them? Do you wonder how you could do differently to achieve greater success at home or at work? Do you feel like something is holding you back from enjoying your life to the fullest? Are you fed up with status quo and ready for real and lasting life change? Are you wanting to start a business or expand an existing one? If the answer to any of these questions is yes, then you are ready for life coaching with Mr. Attitude. Mr. Attitude will stretch and grow you and take your life to a whole new level of success by equipping you with the tools to help you to accomplish more in less time, get and keep your priorities in line, gain greater happiness and joy, face your fears, plan for success, be more assertive and confident, overcome negative stress, deal with negative thinking, set goals you will achieve, and more. Mr. Attitude specializes in results producing. Life strategy coaching for the personal side of your life. Small business coaching for those who want to start a small business or build a stronger small business. Train the trainer coaching for those who aspire to become a motivational professional speaker. Call today and reserve your appointment with greater success. 605-450-1955. That's 605-450-1955. Or email Bob at MrAttitudespeaks.com. That's MrAttitudespeaks.com. Mr. Attitude is committed to your success. All right, we're back on the House of Hidalgo show. Today we have a very, very special program with Jay Sable, and we're talking one community global, self-sustainable housing, energy, food, community for for all the people. And this is an incredible subject, Jay. I just got to say, I mean, from time to time I develop little nicknames for my guests, and I think I might have to start calling you Jay Willy Wonka Sable, because I grew up with the old Willy Wonka, not this new really creepy gothic one, but the old one with Gene Wilder, where in that scene where everybody enters into the chocolate factory and you look around and there's just like all candy everywhere. I'm thinking that's the image that comes to mind when you say tropical atrium.
Yeah, that's actually a pretty good metaphor for what we're, the big picture of what we're trying to create with one community. Is that idea of if we create a playground for adults and show them that they can build their own chocolate factory, then we'll build chocolate factories all over the world, and then other people will be like, man, that's a cool chocolate factory. I want to build a chocolate factory. Well, that's cool. All the plans and stuff are free. Here's a great foundation. And they'll say, well, I want to build a better chocolate factory. You should start with this. Make it easy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's good stuff, man. I can't get enough of it. I don't know if you have a hit counter on your website, but I'm probably about 1,000 of them. Okay. I I got to ask you this because there's some women in my life. I'm a married man, and then my mother too. I've talked a lot with them about this, and the thing that comes up more than anything else, Jay, I'm not trying to be humorous when I say this, but the kitchen. Everybody wants to know, man, you know, if your earth bag or your hobbit house or your whatever you want to call it, if it doesn't have a kitchen, then you're basically talking about a community kitchen type of environment. How do you handle that? What's the thought there? What's the vision?
Well, first and foremost, if somebody wanted to build a trio of domes and make one of them a dining dome, they could really easily do that. So once again, people don't need to follow our model, but the way that we've got it, this is where the Sago Center Duplical City Hub comes in. And so we've got the Sago Center is the one area where we're really going for cutting-edge sustainability. So it's a triple geodesic dome structure with a cupola on top and a central all-natural swimming pool. And, these are all other components that we're open sourcing. As we develop our all-natural swimming pool, we want to open source it. So if somebody wants to build a swimming pool, an all-natural swimming pool in their backyard, it has nothing to do with anything else that we're doing. They don't care about any of this other stuff. We want to teach them how to do that. And part of the Sago Center is the communal kitchen. So for people that want a kitchen, well, you could build yourself a 3-dome kitchen, but in our model, we're building an industrial kitchen with a full-in walk-in freezer and a full-in walk-in refrigerator, the full 9 yards. We're talking a 5-star kitchen capable of serving 150 to 200 people at a time. And the whole community model is built around this idea of maximizing efficiency. So rather than having, if you have an Earthbag village, rather than having 100 people preparing meals for themselves, why don't you take the 10 most inspired food preparation people and put them together and say, let's make a meal for the village, and rotate through that so that other people can spend their time doing other things. So the people that love to cook get to cook, and the people that don't love to cook don't have to because they love to build. And so, you diversify and you start sharing the responsibilities of everything that's covered. And we have that. It's all detailed on the website too, which is efficiency model of saying, wow, if you do that, if you take that concept right there and you add that, you take that and only apply it to the basics of laundry, cleaning, child care, food preparation, and getting food if you have to go to the grocery store, or in our case, we're able to grow all that. You can cover those details with, a 50th of what most people are expending right now as far as labor resources to handle all those things. And so then you take all that free time and go, wow, what do people do with all that free time? In our case, you keep creating more open source content. That's our whole idea, is you keep building and expanding and, apply yourself. Different people do it differently. But there's a real opportunity here for people, and people are already doing this. This is the other thing, is a lot of people have a real problem with it. They go, how are you going to get people to work together? How are you going to get people to live together? It's like, wait a minute, families are doing this already. This idea is not revolution. I mean, look at your college systems. There's lots of community-type environments that come together and are happening successfully right now. If you look at a sorority or fraternity, they're buying food for the whole house. They're preparing food for the whole house, so everybody can have it. And and it's working. So what if we created a lifestyle out of that really met our needs, and then looked at how that would redefine the way we think about living. And with sustainable infrastructure, you can reduce your overhead so much. And that was the original inspiration of this idea was, hey, sustainability just makes sense. If you can eliminate your power bill, you can eliminate your housing bill and reduce the cost of building a home, and you can eliminate your food bill, and then we feel, well, we should build an education program in there too, because that's the other part that most people are spending a lot of money on, is education. If you can eliminate those bills, man, you just freed up your finances for a lot of different things. And those are ongoing expenses that could be just almost completely eliminated. And so we want to demonstrate that to people, and then give them the free time to enjoy, what's provided them.
Absolutely, man. I'm totally with you. As I've been known to be a visionary. Most people say that, I can, that my visions are out of the world, but yeah, man, I can totally see everything you're saying. It's a beautiful, beautiful picture, And I suppose what will happen is, as you're building this community, different people within that community are going to take on jobs within the community that help to sustain that community. Because what need will there be to go out and work 40, to pay bills when you don't have any?
Yep. Well, and that's the teacher. So to take that a step farther, that's the complete teacher demonstration model that we want to see. And another big piece of what we're open sourcing is for-profit and non-profit business function. So we're building one community as an ecotourism resort so that we can open it up to the world and we can invite people to come and visit and experience everything that we're doing. We think that concept is a really brilliant business model that other people would be interested in as well. And so the teacher demonstration village model, the demonstration part is that nobody within the village has a traditional job. The teacher part is inviting the public in to come and see what it is that they're doing, to interact with these people and say, hey, if you want to create a village like this too, you could also quit your job. You don't ever have to commute to work again. You could have your family at home and around you all the time. And the finances, the money to be able to do this is just by sharing it. So now your way of life becomes your commodity and what people, ironically, will pay to come and visit. But the beauty of it is like, hey, you'll pay to come and visit this. You're paying to come and see me live my awesome life. And I'm here to show you that you can live this awesome life too. And if we get everybody living this awesome life, we'll live on a completely different planet that works for everyone. And the beauty of it is it still works for the people with their private jets and their swimming pools and all that stuff. There's lots of these models that will be built with people with just work-from-home jobs, which I believe is really the wave of the future anyway. As these real techie jobs that are continuing to become more popular as automation happens for all of the warehouse and those types of jobs. Well, how are we going to support those folks? This is a way to do that. It really is a win for everyone. It's a win for the 1% too. It really is. So.
Yeah, it's a beautiful picture that you're painting here, some of us out here can totally see it, but there is a need for that education process you're talking about, because we have been trained, and and the training that we did get was in a sense a dumbing down. To the point where we think we need all these things that we have when we really don't. And what you're going to be showing people by demonstrating it is that guess what, guys, we can get by and not just get by, but have an awesome life on just these few things. So I applaud what you're doing, and I can't wait to see it go up. What kind of progress is being made as far as fundraising on that?
We continue to move forward. We're interested in talking to anybody that wants to talk to us about helping to fund one community. The number one thing that would help us out the most right now is if somebody would either donate to our 501c3 or invest in us for profit and help us take the property that I talk about but can't disclose where it is because we don't own it off the market. So if we could, otherwise I'd market it right out from underneath myself. So if we could do that, though, we could market the location, and then we could take a lot of this stuff to the next level. And there's no question that it would, quintuple the size of our team that's working on everything that we're working on, which would, quintuple the speed at which we're becoming shovel ready. So, and that is the other reality about what it is that we're doing is we can't, even if we own the property right now and we're fully funded, until we're ready to build, until we're shovel ready, we won't move on to the property. And so, we'll just continue to create the open source content and all the blueprints and everything that needs to be done, but we need to take it out of the visionary state to the ready to be built state. And so that's what we're focusing on most right now. And that's why you see so many of these updates, because it is just a ridiculous amount of work, and so we're doing that. It's like, okay, planning what you're going to plant. Tropical atrium is a cool idea. Well, planting every single plant that you're going to plant in the tropical atrium needs to be done, and then producing a purchase order for that needs to be done. And these are examples of things that we have done. But then, you need to plan out all the different materials, you need to do engineering the roof, and you need to do 3D, all the 3D design, all that stuff as well. It's just, That's one piece of the project. So anyway, to summarize, the biggest thing that people could do right now if they want to help us out is if we could get the property off the market, then that would allow us to accelerate everything that we're doing, build our team faster. And so we're focused on our process of making that happen is really just continuing to walk our talk and keep working on the shovel-ready aspect. That a lot of people have said, well, what about applying for grants? What about these? What about that? And we really thought about that and said, well, $300,000 really wouldn't make any difference in my life. It wouldn't make any difference in my life right now because it doesn't buy the property. So if I'm not going for getting the property off the market, $20,000, $30,000, those kinds of things would be great if I was just trying to build some of our infrastructure. But we need to launch the entire project, and we're committed to the whole of it. And so because of that, that's what we're focusing on, is how can we find that first property off the market. First step, next step is complete funding, and in the meantime, we're just pushing full steam ahead to be shovel-ready. And that's what you see our weekly updates every week on our blog. This is what we've accomplished to get to that goal.
Okay, well, let's just play this game real quick here. Let's say the person who's going to help you get that property off the market is listening at this moment. How would they get in contact with you, Jay?
Yeah, definitely go to the website. You can check out our funder pages. The easiest way to find them is if you go to the helping drop-down, get involved drop-down on the website, and it says helping, and you can see our funder pages, or you can go to onecommunityglobal.org/funding, and that will get you into our funding pages as well. Send us an email through our website. You can email me directly. So, yeah, any email that comes through the website, it will drop into my inbox.
All right, that's fair enough. Let's talk about the education process just a little bit here, because you're obviously, when you're talking about building a community, you're talking about having kids in that community, and of course there's an education process. Now at the same time though, Jay, I do think that a lot of what's going to be happening on a day-to-day basis in that community is in itself education. So there's a lot of that that's kind of pushed out of the way. But what do you foresee as far as an education process, or are you leaving it up to the community to decide how they're going to do that?
Yeah, we'll evolve it obviously as a group, but what you just mentioned is exactly how the education program is being founded, which is the idea that everything that we're doing is in and of itself an educational process. It's real-world, hands-on experience. And so we're creating an educational program that's specifically tailored to meet traditional models, to meet testing guidelines, et cetera, and also integrates in with the whole of what the community model is, so that we can have kids that if they want to go into sustainability industries or anything related to everything that we're creating, which is hugely diverse, that they will come out at a very young age with hands-on experience and be able to apply that either to entering into a college environment, and that's what the more structured aspect of the educational model is designed around, is saying, hey, we want kids that can ace the SAT and ACTs because that's important to the college environment, but we also want kids that don't want to go that route to have a real solid core of educational skill sets that they can apply on a resume and just go directly into the work environment if they want to. Or the third option is man, you've grown up in one community. You have a skill set that's directly applicable to anybody that wants to start a teacher demonstration model. So if you want to go spend a couple of years in Africa, or a couple of years in France, or a couple of years in Italy, or a couple of years in Haiti, or a couple of years in Brazil, or a couple of years in Louisiana setting up something like this, you've got a skill set that's needed. And so do that, or stay here and be a part of what it is that we're creating. And so we're actually creating a model specifically for that applies within the community, but then we've expanded it to this idea of, well, we're also going to have a lot of people that are going to be more transient traffic coming through one community that might stay for 2 weeks or months or 2 or 3 months. We have a scholarship program that we've designed that we're looking at that we want to be able to operate as well. And so the whole education model, we also have a review and evolution process. That's another big piece that we're working on right now, and a lot of that infrastructure is already up on the website, so that anybody that comes and participates with one community, no matter how long it is, will walk away with resume-ready information. The idea is like, oh, if you come with us, it doesn't matter how long you're here. We consider it an internship, and we want that to provide something useful to you as an individual if you go back to the real world or if you want to start a business or whatever it is that you want to do. And so the education model is designed around that idea. And then for kids, the idea is also that because the entire environment is an education environment, if kids can demonstrate that they can be safe and responsible, irrespective of age, then there's no reason why they can't be getting hands-on educational experience. And then our education model, in addition to that, is built so it's like, okay, well, and we want to make sure that we have kids, don't have kids that know how to build an earth dome but don't know how to read. So we've built the education model saying, let's see how we can incorporate these foundations of education, physics, math, science, all these different basics into the entire environment of the Islam community, and that's what our Education for Life program is about. And it's meant to be a two-directional education program so that teachers become better teachers, students become better learners or maximize their learning experience, and the whole environment is enriching. And then we apply that template to the entire community model. And that's where we talk about creating complete sustainable civilization. So we went, well, if we're going to design this, let's design it so it has everything. What does that look like? And that's what, the last 10 years have gone into this, and, it's been a full-time job for that couple.
Yeah, I can tell. Man, this is good stuff. I as I see it, Jay, in this particular radio program, the entire basis behind it is original intent, and I think that I think that what you're doing with One Community Global is really just all about coming back to original intent, and even what we intended to happen when we built small townships in America. The idea behind it was that people would work locally, people would educate locally, people would just invigorate their own communities. The idea was not for a community to pop up and then you having to drive 40 miles, like in my situation. I'm 40 miles away from the closest city. That wasn't intended. Each town was supposed to be self-sustainable, and we kind of got away from that. And probably our biggest enemy, Jay, and I don't know if you'll just agree with me on this or not, but it's commerce. The whole idea that energy costs something, water costs something. Well, these are not things that were intended to be of any cost. These were things that were granted by creation, and they just got kind of used against us, if you will. So what you're doing here is so fantastic and so over the top. I just love. I love this. I think it's to me as a person who understands divine stuff. Okay, universal. Hey, that's the word I was looking for. Universal stuff. I see this as just the next step towards getting back to that original intent. So Jay, man, I tip my hat to you, man. This is good stuff.
Well, thank you very much. And I think you really touched on a good point, too, which is, the number one thing that I think that's stopping my pain, that's stopping people from creating this already is a belief that it can't be done. And like you just said, you go back 100 years ago, and this is the only way that it was done. But now we have the Internet. Now we have access to infinite information and to be able to basically take the best of the entire world and put it together wherever we want to. So once again, it's time, folks. The idea, I have people go, wait, you really think you could be food self-sufficient? How are you ever going to do that? Like, wait a minute, we were all food self-sufficient not that long ago. Are you kidding? There's lots of people that are food self-sufficient all over the world right now. This idea of a grocery store is fairly new, So, let's take this to the next level. But, those food self-sufficient people don't have the access to the Internet like we do. So we have the opportunity to not only be food self-sufficient, but to literally bring the foods of the world together and eat like kings. Yes. And I say that with love, like to eat better than anybody is eating right now. on the planet, and we can really, really do this, and we can teach other people to do this and bring this kind of technology and this idea to places where people are currently starving. And that's the point. Making it like kings do.
Absolutely. And, you know, I'm going to tie this in a little bit with some stuff I got coming up. I think real soon here I'm going to have a representative from a tribe, an indigenous people group here in America that's just going through absolute living hell. I don't know if you've ever been on an Indian reservation, but the parts that you're allowed to see, you know, look kind of like any other town in America. But if you go deep into it, man, those people are impoverished. They got the highest rate of diabetes in America. They got the alcoholism, like, you know, like nobody's business. It's just nuts inside of those places. And you know, the ability to take this one community, global community, this idea here, and take it onto a place like that, where those people have a history of self-sufficiency, and they've only recently been dragged down into this dragnet of whatever we want to call civilization today. I don't even know what it's called, you know. And man, those people would gladly accept something like this if we were able to take this into those reservations and teach them how to do it all over again. Man, they'd thrive. So I'm excited about this.
Yeah, well said. Me too. Exactly.
Yeah. So you know, you're in California, right?
Yep.
So you know, I'm assuming the property you're looking at is over on the west side of the United States?
Yep.
Okay. So I, you know, because I live in South Dakota, and I'm, you know, I'd love to come and see what you guys are doing when you get there. So I just, I want to kind of start thinking on that line. I'm gonna be staying up to date, man. So you keep updating that website, and we'll keep pushing the word out there.
You know I will. Yeah, thank you very much. And the doors will be wide open. I mean, that's the whole point, is to really to invite people to see what we're doing and then to watch it spread. Thank you.
How do we find you on YouTube, Jay?
YouTube is One Community Org is one of our channels, and then also One Community, One Future. So the word One Community and the number One Future, if you want to follow our blog, like our weekly blog, video blog updates. You can also go to our website and just click on blog up at the top there, and you can see our weekly updates. So every week we do a video blog and a written blog, and we post images and all the details of everything that we're creating. And so if you click on any of the YouTube videos there, that will also take you to our YouTube channel. We have several, too. I mean, we've got an education YouTube channel, and we've got an open source channel, but the main ones are the One Community, One Future, as well as One Community Org.
Excellent. And with about a minute and a half left, Jay, one final push. You said in the beginning that you were looking for somebody to do some 3D art. Is that what you said?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, we've got some amazing people that are doing 3D work right now. If there's folks out there that know SketchUp and want to take a lot of our architectural drawings into 3D, we've got work in progress on almost everything. And there's a few things that just, I mean, I would love to have a team of folks that want to do 3D. SketchUp, by the way, is a free program, so check it out, folks. If you're not aware of it, it's a Google program. It's amazing for creating 3D. And so we're doing everything in that 3D program so that it fits with our open source content, because then people can take these 3D designs and take them in whatever direction they want with a free program. It's really amazing. And so that's one group of people that we're really looking for right now, and they just contact us through our website.
Absolutely. All right. Sounds good. So, Jay, I just want to again extend my hand out to you and say thanks for coming on. We'll have to have you on again sometime because there's just so much to talk about in this area. But, man, you're very hospitable, and I appreciate your willingness.
Ah, my pleasure. Thank you, Rick. Love it. Thank you.
So, For Jay Sable, this is Rick Hidalgo. This has been another episode of the House of Hidalgo show on the Estate Radio Network. Thank you guys for coming. God bless you all. Stay safe, people.